How y'all doing today? So, quite often I'll get asked questions, and I'm sorry there's a glare there. I'm about to turn the, back up and turn. But quite often I get asked a lot of questions about our show and a lot of different comments. Well, sometimes I think it's the right thing to do. You should be part of stuff that you enjoy or stuff that you want to challenge, and by the way, please inbox anytime you have any questions or comments or even concerns. Please inbox us. Wake the letter N bake. I'm sorry, I should say info at wake the letter N bake America show.com. And you can inbox us right into our email inbox. So as I ride around the city, you know what I'm saying? Um, I wanted to answer some of the questions we get as the person who actually created Wake and Bake America. So the first question I get, and I actually get this a lot, and it's not even my fault, but I do understand the confusion. The first question I get is are you really a doctor or a cannabis doctor or a cannabis grow doctor or something like that, right? Are you really a doctor? The reason why I get this question the most in my email and inbox is because I actually played a doctor. So you got to understand, we had a morning show a long time ago called Wake and Bake America Colorado and High Noon with the Doc Mr. Trey. And we had another show that was called, High Tide Stick with the Doc Mr. Trey. But by no means am I a doctor. I'm about as much of a doctor as Dr. Phil is a doctor, and that's an honest answer. What it was I've spent a good portion of my life consistently tracking legislation, legal matters, legislation, medical matters, and things like that involve cannabis. So I have a pretty good plethora of knowledge, but am I in no way, shape, or form the bee's knees or the end all be all or anything remotely close to that when it comes to anything cannabis? I would tell you that I always like to present facts of stories, incidences, and otherwise, but I still am a human being and I have an opinion. I tell people all the time, I didn't pay to get my show on the radio and publish my show to be told what the fuck I could say. That's never going to happen. I'm not the one for that. I want to be able to tell you what I really think, and we don't have to agree. We don't have to get along. We don't have to argue. We can argue, but I say that we should rather debate, because I believe an argument means that you've stopped listening to the other side, and a debate means that you're willing to listen. You know what I mean? So that's probably the question I get the most is, are you really a doctor? And the answer is no, not even remotely close, not at all, not even close. As a matter of fact, I'm not, probably another question I get is, are you, what kind of meds do they have you on? Are you, taking psych meds? Are you crazy? No, not at all. I'm actually not, I would say 95% of the turned up me on air is probably only about 25-30% of me off air, if that makes sense. And then the other 5% of me calm on air is probably really only about 70% of the time. So that's probably an honest answer right there, is that no, it's some acting. I want to get turned up and be crazy and excited and act like it matters to the bottom of the moon because it's crazy insane. It's just an act. It's just an act. It's just part of the entertainment and charactership that we've developed. Because as much as we are satire, I tell people all the time, Stephen Colbert is satire with facts. So he takes the facts and he makes fun of it. Just a one example of hundreds of thousands of examples that could be used worldwide. Trevor Noah is another good example of that. Bill Maher, if you ever watch Bill Maher, he's super duper educated, but he's still going to tell you how the fuck he feels. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just what it is. And hi, by the way, to everybody who's actually watching this live. Another question I get often is, what was the question? Did they ask something about Adderall? I think it was like, are you prescribed Adderall for your ADD? Well, I will tell you that when I was a young kid, I was prescribed Adderall, Ritalin, or maybe not Adderall itself, not the literal brand of Adderall or whatever, but variations of Adderall or Ritalin, things that calm you down. But unfortunately, for me at least, I it didn't go well for me over the long-term years. You know what I'm saying? It didn't go very well for me at all. And so, unfortunately, what I always tell people is that unfortunately for me, sadly, it will be what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I can't change that. But anyway, but no, currently, actually, the only thing I take is cannabis. Funny enough. Again, I think part of that is always that very crazy, eccentric person that I am, of course, entertaining you with and entertaining people on air with, quite often is confused with who I may really be. And what I tell people is, if you got people thinking that that character is exactly who you are in the streets, then as an actor or someone who's supposed to be acting, right, and someone who's supposed to be entertaining, then you have done your job as an entertainer. The other question I got asked is, do I own the radio station? Yeah, right. One can only hope to one day achieve such a goal when radio entertainment has been your dream your entire life. So, no, I do not own the radio station, although that's a question that I get asked more than anything about the character I play on the show. That is actually something I get asked more often than I would like to be asked, because I'm like, are you serious? But, you know, hey, fans are fans. A question I got just, I think it was today or yesterday, asked me if I was really that much of an asshole all the time, to which I gladly answered, no. You can be glad to know and be thankful to know that I'm really not that much of an asshole all the time. But the flip side of the coin is I always tell everybody, is don't get it twisted. I'll snatch a motherfucker up by this collar quick and I'll slap the fuck out you. And I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about jail. I got bail money. I always tell everybody, I got the bail money in my savings account because I know I'll slap the fuck out you. Now, that ain't no tough talk. I like to tell people very clearly, as I grew up in a tough neighborhood, in a rough neighborhood. I am in no way, shape, or form a tough guy. I can handle my own, but I'm no way, shape, or form a tough guy, you know, but I can handle my own. So what I tell people is, the problem is I don't like people talking crazy to me, because I just grew up in a neighborhood where we went by a policy called don't want none, won't get none. So if you don't want no fucking funny shit, then don't come at me with no funny shit. And that's just as real as it gets. The problem is that people sometimes take my intolerance for fuck shit as me being an asshole. So, am I an asshole? Well, sure. Everybody can be an asshole. I can be an asshole. I can be an asshole all you want. Like I always tell everybody, everybody's always like, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, I am the one. Let's do this shit. You want to go get it cracking? Let's crack it off. So does that make me an asshole, or does that make me someone who is intolerant of bullshit? So that's the real question there. You know what I mean? So anyway, another question as we're taking a ride and getting to know Mr. Trey is the other question I get asked a lot is how do I tolerate / deal with my pain? I'm going to tell you guys that I wish the answer was an easy answer, and this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, is taking care of your mind, body, and soul. Like I said, like I play a character that's turned up, like veins popping out the neck. I can get crazy at any minute because it's just acting. But the reality is that when it comes to pain, the cannabis definitely helps. I don't take any other pain medication, like I don't take any narcotics. I don't take any anything like that, really. The only thing I will take sometimes is some ibuprofen. Now, so, you know, I like to keep the record straight with people and be very integrity filled and honest with you, with my personal life, as much as at least I possibly can. So one of the things is that, like, I did have cortisone shots put in my shoulders when the pain became intolerable to the maximum of the idea of intolerable pain. The problem is that, and I will tell you, just like I tell everybody, well, hell, pain pills work, man, but do you want to be a junkie the rest of your life? Well, cortisone worked, but it only worked for a damn month, and I am not in a position that I want to tear apart my body with steroid injections into the joints and to do it to get a month's worth of relief, and then after that it's right back to the same old pain. So I may wait and do it like every 6 months or a year, just so I can not be bothered by things as much, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to my medical treatment and how I take care of my own mind, body, and soul, as I told you, it's something that's very important to me. Is that one, I try to read a lot. Now, I don't just read, all the bad stuff going on in the news and all the fuck shit going on in the news and just that. That's ridiculous. You'll probably go crazy, like I have to go crazy almost every day. Um, but do I? But I do read a lot of like good heartfelt stories. I read stories, guys, that I promise you we don't always bring to the table, that would literally, I'll be sitting there with like tears running down my cheeks, because I'm just like, I'm so touched by what I'm reading, and the humanity and the love and the soul that we often find ourselves yearning for here in America. And then we don't see it everywhere. And then when you do read about it, you're like, man, damn, that's some deep shit right there, yo. Like, hell yeah. So anyway, so when it comes to my medicine and stuff, I try to take care of my mind and read good stuff and healthy stuff. If you're a Bible person, read the Bible. I'm Buddhist, so I like to read a lot of uh, self reflection, spiritually, you know, helpful stuff, if you would. And I also try to read a lot of just a lot of everything, really. I mean, I read a lot of stuff out the science page, and I read a lot of stuff out of this, and I read a lot of stuff out of that. And the point, sorry, I got to move this. The sun is just hitting it, but I'm about to hang up or end this. Um, but I got one more question that I get asked a lot, and I promised I would answer it, and so I intend to fully answer that question. But I think one of the biggest problems is that uh, there's nothing, not for me, what I found is that not just one thing works. Like, I can smoke pot until the end of the day, and it may not end that problem. But what I do notice, or what I can tell you, is that if my shoulder's killing me, I'll suck it up buttercup all day long. I'll do a dab here and there, smoke a bowl here and there, but I'll genuinely suck it up buttercup. But at the end of the day, I might take some ibuprofen for my shoulder at night. But rather than take it all the time, every day, all day, fucking your liver up, making yourself sick. Shayla, I did see you, by the way, Burnett. But and thank you for checking in. Hi. But the reality is that what I have found to be fact is that not any one thing solves my problems with my back, my neck, my shoulders, and my knees. Not any one thing, but a light amount of a couple of different things seems to be the regiment that works for me. I have a cannabis doctor, a medical doctor, a joint specialist, a knee specialist, a shoulder specialist. Like, I've got tons of doctors, guys. So and through all of them, we've come to a mutual understanding and a mutual agreement of what my treatment should be, how it should be, and why it should be that way. Last thing, I get asked a lot, and listen, I open the fucking door for this every day, because I have to cover the news. And especially because we do a lot of weed and weed politics and politics in general, and we do real news. I'm not here. Listen, I'm here to get high and talk to you about some real shit, but I'm not here to get high and fuck around and goof off with you. I'm here to smoke some pot and talk about some real shit. We're all educated people. I always tell people I aim to be the poor man's Joe Rogan or the poor man's Howard Stern. I'm gonna tell you how the fuck it is. You don't have to agree with me, but hate me or love me, come back and argue with me and debate. Remember, arguing is basically unwilling to debate or listen. You're only giving out your side. I would love to debate with anyone, anytime, all day, every day, about any issue, because you're not wrong. It's your belief system. It's your health. It's your life, and you need to take it seriously. Last question, though, politics. I've been asked this probably. I haven't answered it genuinely, like, up front, but I get asked this a lot, and it is simple. I have a lot of Trump supporters who also are supporters of the Wake and Bake America show, and they ask me all the time, do you really hate the president that much? So it's kind of a awkward answer. And so what I mean by that is that, yes, I genuinely dislike the president that much. I don't really like the word hate, although I'll use hate when on air and hate other times, and hate when I type to exacerbate or accentuate a situation to what I feel about something. But the truth is, I don't really hate Donald Trump at all. No, as a matter of fact, I genuinely though dislike him as an individual, as a human being. And now this has nothing to do with his campaign. You can go back on me all the way back to The Apprentice. You can talk to friends and family of mine. I've always said, hey man, the dude knows how to make money. That is an inarguable fact. Salute. But when it comes to how I think maybe he feels about human beings and his genuineness towards us as people, since The Apprentice, I've always said that he's a bit of a fuck boy and a fuck stick. So here's the thing is, does that mean that he'll run our country into the ground? Not necessarily. What I believe about that or not doesn't even matter. Does it mean that he'll get us into another world war? Well, maybe, maybe not, but it doesn't really matter because so could the other guy in office. But the reality is that I think that a lot of my Trump friends, and I owe this to you guys to answer this, in all honesty, I owe it to you to answer it correctly. And the correct answer from me is that no, I don't hate the president. I have disliked him since The Apprentice as a human being because I think he's a dick. And that's the truth. But it doesn't change whether or not he will do good or bad. I mean, it can affect it. Trust me, if you're an asshole to everybody, you might be an asshole running the country. But the reality is do I hate the man? No. But if you're going to sit in that chair, you better, and I'm talking about the White House, if you're going to sit in that chair, you better be prepared to answer to America. And I'm not America's voice, but I am one man with a voice, and I intend to ask the tough questions, and I don't care what party you're part of, and I don't care about your political affiliation. Guys, listen, if you want to know the truth, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm not a Libertarian or a Green Party or a Peace Party or a G Party or an A, F, D, E, F, G, M, elemental P Party. None of them. I'm a completely 100% a tray, a party of one, an individual who has his own ideals, thoughts, and views, and you may agree with 99 of them out of 100, but there'll still be one that we will not agree on, and that's the beauty of being a human. It's what makes us human. That's the truth. So I felt like I owed it to our viewers, our watchers, our listeners, our subscribers, and then the more than nearly almost 100,000 listeners daily throughout the United States that listen to us, that we owe it to you to tell you this is us. This is who we are. We're really human. But take what you see on the radio with a grain of salt. Take what you see on our good morning, Ronnie Joseph. Take what you see on our show with a grain of salt. Take what you see on our podcast and you hear on our podcast with a grain of salt. We aim to give you information that is fact, but we don't have to like the facts. We can argue the facts. Sorry. Remember, we're trying to be correct. We can debate the facts, but we don't have to be mean, nasty, and I don't want you to ever take the person that I am over. I want you guys to see I want you guys to don't ever take the person that you see as an actor as not the person, as the person that we are 100% of the time. It's just an acting. But the reality is that I'm a Buddhist, and the reality is that for me, as a Buddhist and as a white Latin American Black and indigenous person, and I got the DNA test to prove it, I can't see any other idea other than let's talk, let's laugh, let's have fun, but let's also remember that we're all human. We're all here, and in the end, I kind of feel like we got to remember that we're nothing more than the fart dust of a supernova.